Welcome to Flipped Classroom. Our subject is algebra and we are looking at solving equations with brackets. Our learning intention is we are learning to solve equations that have brackets, and our success criteria is I am successful when I can expand brackets to solve linear equations, use division to remove brackets, and identify which method is best for different situations. So let's have a look at the two expressions that are on the screen. We need to expand the following. We have 3 outside of 2x plus 5, and we have negative 8 outside of 7 plus 2y. For the first one, we just take that coefficient of 3 from outside the brackets, and we multiply it into both terms that are in the bracket. So we get 3 times 2x and 3 times 5. And we leave our operator of plus in the middle because that's the operator that was in the middle of the brackets. And we simplify that down to 6x plus 15. For the negative 8 outside of 7 plus 2y, we do the same thing, but this time we make sure that that negative sign is attached to the 8 because it is a negative 8, not just the 8. Again, we simplify and we get negative 56 minus 16y. If you're not sure about how to do this expansion, click on the card above and you can go and have a look at that video. So solving linear equations that contain brackets can be done 2 different ways. One way is by expanding the brackets like we just did, and the other way is dividing by the term that is before the brackets. So an example for expanding the brackets is we have the 3 outside of x minus 2, and we expand it out to 3x minus 6. And the same equation, our 3 outside of x minus 2 equals 9. We can divide both sides by 3 and then simplify that down to x minus 2 equals 3. So both ways can be done and they will get the same answer, and we will have a quick look at how this works. So let's have a look at an example of expanding brackets. We have 2 equations here. On my left hand side I'm going to do my thinking, and on my right I'm going to write down what I show my teacher so that they know what I am doing. So step 1 is I expand the brackets. So I've gone through and multiplied that 2 by both terms in the middle, and we get our 6x minus 10 equals 15. And now I can use backtracking from before, and if you're not sure you can click on the card above to have a look at backtracking. So to get rid of that minus 10, I'm plussing 10 to both sides, and they cancel out and leave us with 6x equals 25. And then again, I divide both sides by 6, and I simplify that down to 4 1/6. Now I can substitute that back into the original equation and go through and work this out. I can either type it into my calculator or I can do each of the steps, and I get 15 equals 15 at the end, which means that that is the correct solution for that equation. Let's try this for the second equation. So again, I'm expanding my brackets, but this time I'm going to simplify. As I've got a 2x there and I've got a minus 4x, I can combine those 2 like terms together, and it simplifies down to negative 2x plus 12 equals 8. And again, I start my backtracking. To get rid of that plus 12, I will minus 12, and I do that on both sides, and then I simplify that down. And then to get rid of that negative 2 out the front, I divide by negative 2 on both sides, and I get x equals 2. And again, I can take that x equals 2 and substitute it back into my original equation, and again go through and solve that and work out that both sides are the same, and therefore our answer is correct. Let's try another equation this time by dividing out that term or that coefficient before the brackets. So again, I've got my thinking and what I'm showing my teacher. My first step is I write down the equation and then I'm dividing by that term that's in the front. So there's that 3 at the front, and the left hand sides cancel out, and the right hand side just becomes 5 because 15 divided by 3 is 5, and that simplifies down to 4x minus 1 equals 5. The next, I need to start my backtracking. So I get rid of the minus 1 by adding 1. And those two cancel out, and we get 4x equals 6. And again, we need to remove that coefficient of 4. So I divide both sides by 4, and it simplifies down to 1.5. I could have simplified that as 3 over 2. Depending on what the question is asking, sometimes it's better to have an improper fraction. Sometimes it is better to have a mixed number. Now we can substitute that back into our original equation. And again, we can type it in our calculator, or we can go through the steps and work out both sides are the same. So we know that x equals 1.5. For our reflection, we need to compare when it is better to expand the brackets versus dividing by that term at the front or that coefficient. As always, like the video and subscribe for more videos on maths.